All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Now I get to tear you apart. This is the best part.
I love it.
Now this is where I feel comfortable. All right, so I'll give you the whole little spiel here. So we're gonna go through the Titleist Performance screen.
Okay.
It's a 16-point screen, and I'm just looking at movement, your ability to move at certain joints, how flexible you are, and then really how motor control. What do you do? What are your tendencies? And just trying to get an idea how you use your body.
Got it.
Cool.
So you're going to take me through 16 different points.
Some of them, they're instant, like some of them are so fast, it's like, can you do this? Done.
Okay.
This can be done super duper quick, but I think since we're going through it, I'll just kind of talk my way through a lot of it.
Got it. And you do this. This is step one.
First thing I do.
With any student or somebody that comes to visit you.
Yeah.
Or sign up with one of your courses.
So anytime someone walks in the door, if I haven't met them, we'll have a conversation. What are your goals? How often do you play? Why are we talking to each other is really where it starts out.
Okay.
So for someone like you, you've kind of already told me a little bit about your golf game to a degree the other day, but you know, my normal questions are, do you have any aches and pains?
Do I have any? Inside left knee, there's a little bit of a twinge, but nothing that should prevent a good golf swing.
Okay, golf related or not golf related?
Like undetermined.
Okay, fair enough. That makes it interesting. So now we can determine that here. That's cool. And then beyond that, it's, you know, what are your goals? Are you trying to increase distance? Are we trying to win a club championship? Do you gamble with your friends and you lose too much? All those usually come into play at some point. Or is it you want to play forever and stay healthy? I got a lot of people who, you know, golf is something that they want to do for the rest of their lives. They're not really that healthy and they just want to figure out any way that they can prolong their ability to keep playing.
Got it. So you phrase that question, what are you looking to achieve?
Yeah, why are you paying me? Well, like, what are we doing? What's the goal here? Because it can be any of those things. Like as a physical therapist, we can take this from a rehab perspective where you just had a multi-level spine fusion where now your back doesn't move at all. And we need to find other strategies to get you through 18 holes. You know, we need to find ways to gain power and gain speed that don't stress your spine, that don't throw you back into the OR again.
Sure.
Or I can take it all the way to the performance end where I'm working with somebody who's trying to make, you know, a professional tour, and, you know, either they've had some repeated injuries over the years or they just have difficulty with a reproducible swing.
That makes sense. I think how I would answer that question, if we're gonna go through this motion, is I'm not getting any younger.
Okay.
Every time I go out and play around with golf, I feel stiffer.
Okay.
And my flexibility is worsening.
Okay.
And I feel like that's impacting my swing and my scores.
Okay. When you say you feel stiffer, I'm just going to dig into that. Where do you feel stiffer?
Rotationally, I think is the first thing that comes to mind. But
is this
in
during
general,
play or after play?
all of the above.
Okay. Okay. So that's
but after play is probably where it's most pronounced.
okay.
But you know, with age, I feel stiff when I wake up in the morning. I am not the most organized golfer, meaning I usually show up 5 minutes before my tee time.
Awesome.
And don't get enough time in the range or enough time stretching,
Okay.
which I know I should.
Okay.
And so get out there, and the first few holes are generally a disaster.
Okay.
Or I get a lucky birdie or par on number one, and then 2 through 8 are a disaster.
Okay.
And a lot of that is because of stiffness.
Yep.
Or just, you know, by the time I get to the back nine, my swing loosens up a bit.
Cool. All right, let's get started.
Okay.
Show me your setup.
My setup. Which
Yeah,
way should I look here?
We got a 7-iron. Stay right there. I think right where you are is cool.
Okay.
So
My setup.
yeah, this is not the challenging thing. So
Sure.
I'll just kind of walk you through what I'm looking for.
Okay.
100% spine angle. That's the only thing I care about. I care about what's your posture as far as your upper back and what's your posture for your lower back.
Okay.
So are you the really old guy who's
Kyphotically hanging out over the ball here,
or are you the really young kid who's sticking their butt out and their chest out in the up?
I would think I lean to the former, not the latter.
You're very much in the middle. Like this is a acceptable, totally normal thing that I'm seeing.
Okay.
The first couple things we do are going to be out of that posture, and we're going to look at dissociation first. So upper, lower body dissociation.
Okay.
So if you
explain dissociation.
okay, so the concept that I can move my torso and I can move my hips at 2 different times.
Okay.
And I'll kind of get why that's important. So if you set up that same way,
Okay.
I'm going to take the club away from you.
you don't move at all. So you hang out right there. You're gonna cross your arms across your chest, and I wanna see, can you move your pelvis like this? Ready? Arch, sag, back and forth there.
I think that there was like this is like a TikTok meme or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I usually have to tell the young people to twerk.
I feel like all I'm doing is just like sucking in my gut.
All right, so that motion needs to come from your spine and from your abdomen, right?
Am I doing?
Watch me again, right? So my shoulders don't move at all, right? There's nothing happening there. It's all coming from here as I shake from my workout earlier.
Yeah, I don't. Let's see. I'm trying. I don't even know.
This is test number 1.
I feel like I'm failing it.
It's okay. It only gets. That was close. Like we got something there. So the next thing I need to do is.
I gotta pretend I'm on the dance floor. Almost.
Yeah, you're getting close. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to help you.
Clench.
I'm going to help you to see if that improves it.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you feedback.
Okay.
So if you get into the exact same position again, I'm going to put my hands on your shoulders so you have something to stabilize against. Okay. Now do the exact same thing and tell me, does that help at all?
Am I moving the right bone?
Yeah, you are. So does that now feel different that I've stabilized your upper body? Now I'm not seeing this.
The first time, this is what I saw.
Right. I was, I was.
How do we figure that strategy out, right? Right? All right, so test 1.
Okay.
Motor control. Can you move the way I ask you to?
Sure.
Not so much, but then if I give you some feedback, it gets better.
Okay.
So that's an encouraging thing to see.
Sure.
You've now told me you physically have the range of motion and flexibility to do what I'm asking.
Okay.
You just have no idea how to do it.
That sounds right.
Cool?
Yes.
All right, so now same setup. I'll give you the absolute worst
First one next. So exact same thing. You have to show me that you can turn your hips.
Okay.
rotation without moving your shoulders at all.
What's that? That was. Move the hips, Alex. Come on. Nope, that's
yeah,
shoulders.
That's good.
Shoulders.
That's good. This is the booty shake now. This is good stuff.
That's just the boot. That's not hip. Oh,
there you go. Now we got it.
All right. So it's like I had to remind myself where my hips were.
Yeah. So you have to. There you go. Back to booty shake again. So
that was booty shake.
Watch me. Ready?
So here's
the dance floor booty shake. The side to side.
That's what I was doing. And that's not what we want to do.
No, I want to see rotation. Right? Can I get my back swing in my lower body and then my down swing in my lower body?
I got it. I got to think golf swing here.
Yeah. There you go. That's good.
But my shoulders are moving.
Then the next question that falls in is if I put
my hands on you again, hold you here, you do the exact same thing. Does it make it any easier?
For sure.
Yeah.
So that's usually the answer you get
from somebody who has a little bit of a motor control issue. I'm just going to enter in some stuff because my memory is nowhere near enough to remember this whole thing.
Is it wrong that I already felt that in my lower back? Is that normal?
Is that wrong? Hold on. I'll give you the answer. Is that wrong?
I wish I was kidding.
I know.
All right, so your question was, is that okay that you feel it in your low back already? Or is that wrong?
No, I know it's not okay. I guess let me rephrase that. Is it uncommon after 30 seconds of that to almost feel not pain but discomfort in my lower back?
So that was going to be my next question. So when I ask, does that hurt? A lot of people say, no, it doesn't hurt. It just doesn't feel right. And then my follow-up is, if you
it's on the way to hurting.
If you always felt what you were feeling, would that be acceptable?
No.
Okay, so that to me is on the
pain spectrum, right?
Okay,
0 being nothing and 10 being, please make it stop.
It's not 0.
Okay.
So that is a painful response. So right away, that now goes high priority. Why is that painful? And that takes a whole separate analysis through that.
Right,
so we'll kind of go through that cascade.
That's not 101. That's 201.
We'll go through cascade on that too. All right. So the next thing
is just, can we move the shoulders? Most people can get this one. So just rocking the shoulders
back and forth.
Okay. 1 second. Rocking the shoulders back.
Yeah, golf posture, rock the shoulders. All right, so a lot of lower body movement. So let's see if we can
let me freeze the lower body.
The lower body is silent and we're just shifting here. Yeah, so think your putt. That's all I want you to think. So just the putt rock.
I'm not putting. Let's see.
So big range, which is cool. Give me like 3/4 that.
3/4.
Just so it's really easy. Like, watch how much I'm going, right? Just a little rock. Just show me you can kind of rock the shoulders back and forth. Cool. One direction, is it harder than the other? They feel about the same.
It almost feels like the backswing is a little tougher.
Okay. What indicates
but not by a lot.
What indicates the same thing to me is when you turn to the right, I see your pelvis turn to the right. When you turn to the left, it stays stationary. So there's
right there
something. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's a little
Wiggle, right? So As I go here, it doesn't move. As you go, there's this little hesitation that occurs when you go to the right. And now that I've told you, you fix it. Right? Everything that's motor control, usually if a cue is given, whether it's physical or verbal, most people can fix it.
Okay.
So already we're seeing a couple motor control things. Just things that, you have a pattern, the way you do things, but if I tell you to do it differently, you immediately figure out how to do it differently.
Makes
Cool
sense.
with that so far?
Yep.
All right, the easiest test, put your feet together. Can you touch your toes?
Can I touch my toes?
Yeah. Yeah, prep.
It's
Yeah,
usually
prepare.
after like my third or fourth time down. But
God, can you touch your toes? Cool. That counts to me. All right,
there's probably a little bit of knee bend there, I'm sure.
that's okay. Here's what I want to see now. Is there a difference? So if you go into this little kickstand and you go down, touch the left, come back up, go down, touch the right, are they different or are they the same?
I'm not sure I've ever tried that in my life.
That's okay.
So
Yeah, so tell me- Yeah,
one foot on my toe.
perfect, right there. Both hands dive for the big toe on your left foot. Cool?
Yeah.
And then do the other side. What do you think? Same or different?
It felt easier going down on my right foot.
Okay. So there's something we noticed that's a little asymmetry. Super mild.
Yeah, not extreme, right?
No, not at all. But I'm going to say it's good, but I always want to know, is there one side that's really different from the other? You're going to take this overhead, you're going to hold both ends of your golf club, you're going to do a squat, you're going to hold, you're going to come back up.
I did do CrossFit.
So overhead squats should be
It's
good.
been 7 years since I did CrossFit, and probably 7 years since I've done this move.
Yeah, so let's see what we got.
I'm not confident about this.
That's okay. It's
keep
not a
this-
heavy bar. We're not doing any, there's no thrusters.
It has nothing to do with the bar.
There's no
The
thrusters.
The bar could be gone.
Cool, stand on
I
up
feel like
out of
I'm
that.
leaning way forward.
Yeah, that's right. So you can move your feet wherever you want, whatever makes it more comfortable, and you can play around with that.
As far as like,
Yeah, you want to move your feet, move them wherever.
but the idea
You
is to keep my upper torso as straight up and down as possible.
The idea is
In
I want to
theory.
see what you naturally do, and then
Okay.
I'll start messing
got it.
with you a little. All right, can I nitpick really fast?
Please.
All right, so first thing, go ahead and go down there again. First thing I see is the feet aren't on the ground.
Yeah.
What you do well before I correct that is your torso and your shin are parallel, which is always a really good thing to see.
My torso and my shin. Okay.
So if I look at you, right, and you start to squat down, the line my shins make and the line my torso makes
Are
should
the same
be
angle.
parallel.
Okay.
If we start to see something like, sorry, I won't give the stripper move to the camera. If I see something like that as a squat, that's not a squat. And if I see something where someone's like this, that's not really much of a squat either.
Sure.
I want to see primary hip movement through that.
Got it.
So first thing I see is your heels come off the ground.
Yes.
Is that because you don't know what I'm asking you to do?
No, that's because I know that to keep them on the ground, I'm only going to be able to get halfway down.
Yeah. So let's show me halfway, heels
Without-
on the ground.
Okay, so keep heels on the ground. Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll try and figure out why you can't do that. Yeah. So that's a lot less. You're working. We're fighting. We're still fighting. Okay. Stand on up. I'm going to take the stick. So do the same thing. Your arms straight out in front of you. See if that gets to be any easier.
I can feel my heel come up.
Yeah. So still about the same, or is it easier for you?
That felt a little bit easier, but I know I'm not getting very far down.
Okay, go hands down. So now I just want you to go hands by your side. Same thing, almost like you're going to do a deadlift.
Yeah.
I can tell the back feels good already.
Yeah. No, that
Nope, same deal, right?
That feels like the hardest of the three.
Okay.
I'm keeping, can I go out? No,
Sure, you can go wherever you want. I'll let you go wherever you want. Yeah, right away. Same thing.
That fell on my knee.
Cool.
No, heels are up.
Yeah.
Heels are up.
So that's where you like to be. So what I want to see after that is this an ankle issue now? So if we get you into a lunge and you go from here, I just want to see how far can you get your knee over your toe? Because if you're someone who can only go this far, squatting down is going to be really hard. Versus if you can get your knee way over your toe, squatting should be easy.
Okay. So same move.
Yeah, so go down to a lunge. You just hang out, relax there, nothing complicated. Just show me that you can push your knee over your toe towards me.
Without it lifting?
Yeah, keep the
If
heel
I go
down.
any further,
Go
there's
ahead.
no lift.
Go ahead and go back. Go back,
Back.
just so we get there. So that's about where you get until your heel comes off the ground. If I draw a straight line down, it is ahead of your toe. So let's see if the other side's the issue.
Same thing.
Same deal. pull that one back a little. Now go ahead and come down. Okay, so I'll tell you what.
This one feels like it's going further.
It is. That to me is closer to normal. Kind of the standard is about 4 inches in front, or fist. So you're close.
Close.
Show me the other one again.
Over here, I'm not close.
I agree. So also to consider, you said knee pain on this side, so then we sort of have the idea of that's about it. You're already lifted.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're 2 inches shorter, right? So something.
You think that's ankle or knee?
I think it's ankle. I'll show you it's not your knee if you want, but it's definitely ankle. Because go ahead and stand up. Can you do this?
Can you bend your knee all the way? Sorry, I'll hold you.
Can I hold? There we go.
There you go. Go ahead. Can you bend your knee all the way?
Yeah.
Okay, so your knee can flex as far as it needs to. So your knee's not the issue. The ankle doesn't allow your knee to go far enough forward to take that motion.
Got it, okay.
So left ankle stiffness, big one for you.
Something I learned already. If somebody asked me, do you have any issues with your ankle, before today, I would say no.
No.
And you do.
Okay.
And already that's going to be a very big deal for you.
And what's my bill? 50 grand.
Go ahead and just show me a single leg balance here.
Okay.
This is my other favorite test. On your hands on your hips.
Oh gosh.
Oh wow, it's
a challenge.
Okay.
There we go.
Now I make my have you been drinking joke. That's good.
Don't ask.
All right, go ahead and do the other side. Hey, you work from home, right?
I do work from home, and a friend in the neighborhood last night did have some people over.
Nice.
Would it made any difference if I didn't go to that party last night? I don't think so.
Maybe. Okay, go back to the other side. We get to do the real test.
Okay.
So you're going to go on to the whichever foot. Doesn't matter. You're going to come up here again.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to close your eyes and you're going to hold there.
Okay. Oh shit. That's it. Try that again.
Keep the eyes open. Get up there. Get steady. Then close them.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do the other side.
All right. Eyes open.
Eyes open. Get steady. Then close them.
Yeah, I want to go this way.
Yeah, that's fine. So Titleist has put the gold standard, 15 seconds, eyes closed. So the way
I was at about what, 2?
You're under 5. So Titleist puts out this screen, and I'll kind of break it out here because that's always the easiest one to show people.
Okay.
Titleist made this screen because it noticed, the people who work there noticed that there's a huge difference between amateurs and professional golfers in their ability to play, the way they move, the strategies they use to hit the golf ball, and they wanted to know why. So they started to look at different physical tests to figure out where is the biggest discrepancy between amateurs and professionals.
Okay.
So most professionals, high percentage, like 90%, can stand on one foot with their eyes closed for at least 15 seconds.
So a huge difference between professionals and amateurs is balance.
Just very simply, just from the start, the ability to balance. Now, I would say you put any professional athlete under that test, they're going to do very well.
You put any amateur under that condition, they'll do probably pretty poorly.
Right.
So just an interesting place
But also,
to start.
I mean, what about? I mean, you work. This is a gym. This is a therapy center. Right? We haven't gotten into that yet. But the most people that work out or are in this industry could probably pass that test pretty easily, right?
Depends.
Okay.
If you ask me how many of my colleagues could do 15 seconds with their eyes closed, I'd say half.
Okay. Half. All right. I feel better.
Yeah, you should feel that. All right, you're going to go arms out to your side. You're going to bend your elbows. I'm just going to look at your shoulder range of motion.
Okay. This hand, I want you to rotate it back like you're going to throw. Cool. So the thing I'm looking for here is forearm, is it in line with your spine? Is it behind your spine, or is it in front?
Ooh, literally, I was about to cramp.
Yeah. So, because you're fighting, you know what the goal is.
Yeah.
I'll give you in line with your spine. It's pretty close to not being. You can relax that hand. Yeah. As you're a righty, this should fly by your ear.
I mean.
There you go. Okay, we're past. So now, after getting that, you get the motor control test.
Okay.
Set up in your golf stance. Now we get to learn if your golf stance is effective or not. You're going to take this hand off. You're going to stay exactly where you are. Let me move this arm, make it jello. Ready? You're going to rotate that back.
Just the way you did before. Cool.
So all I'm looking for is, you didn't like that, did you?
I didn't love that.
So all I'm looking for is, can you maintain that same position with that
shoulder in this posture? Go ahead and relax on down.
Give me this arm. bend this one, rotate back. See, now I would have said that one is a little less than before, but I think I was being generous with posture. So here's what I want you to try, just because you got that camera there, and I think it's fun to always see this. Put that hand back on.
Okay.
All right, so keep the posture you're in. Take this hand off. Rotate that back as far as you can. I want you to see how far you can get that back. See how high your hand is overhead? Just look at it really quick.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, relax there.
Yeah.
I want you to really slouch over the golf ball, like really horrible, like slouch over the top of it, right? I'm gonna take this hand now, rotate it back as far as you can. So, just to make the point, when your posture gets worse, your backswing will get shorter, just immediately.
Sure.
So there's a reason why the old guy who stands like this at the tee only gets the club to here, versus if he were upright, can get it higher. So your posture has a big effect on your ability to swing and how big of a backswing you can take.
To get into the swing for a second, do you see amateurs, even in good shape or good range of motion, typically more slouched in their swing than they should be?
It's funny, it varies. It really does vary a lot. Okay. So young kids tend to do more of what's called an S posture, where they stick their butt out really far and their chest is up.
I've seen that.
Versus you start to trend towards older individuals, they tend to get more kyphotic. That doesn't mean I haven't seen a younger kid stand like this, and it also doesn't mean I haven't seen an older guy stand like that, but it's less common.
Got it. Okay.
Less common. Cool.
Are there tour? It feels like there's some tour pros that almost have that. Would you call it the S curve?
The S curve?
Yeah.
There's some guys who S curve. The one that comes to mind for C right away is Fleetwood.
Okay.
Look at Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, he's like this over the ball every time.
Right.
Yeah, but it's funny. But he kills it. I mean, what are you going to say?
He's got pretty good range of motion, I would think.
Yeah, he does. Let me enter that one in just because again, I'm going to forget some of this stuff. And your balance. Right side was more. Same. Equal. Less. Let's knock out the really fast ones.
Okay.
So this is where I start to get to the point where I just want to get you fast answers. Go here. Hinge both wrists down. Hinge both back. Turn both palms up. Turn both palms down. As far as you can. Okay. Hold on, bring your elbows back to your side. Do the exact same thing, palms down now. That's good. Throw arms all the way out in front of you. Hinge your wrists down. Hinge your wrist back towards you. All those are good. Relax your arms. Look over your right shoulder. Look over your left shoulder. Cool. You just passed 4 tests in 5 seconds. Feel better now?
I do. Finally, some decent grades.
So this is what I usually tell people at the very beginning. As I go through this series of tests, I'm going to call you out on every little thing. I'm going to point out everything that's wrong. The more I find that isn't perfect, the more things you have that you can improve on to help your game. The worst case scenario is you walk in this room, I go through that screen, everything looks great. Yeah, you can't get any better. That's it.
And you're like, but I'm not any good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst case scenario, and I can't say I've ever really had that happen.
Sure.
I have a lot of people who get close, like especially younger teenage kids, but at the end of the day, there's always a little thing that can get better.
Sure.
Cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even in that scenario, when let's say you get some 18-year-old stud who, you know, you look at him, you look at his swing, you look at his posture, his range of motion, all these things, and you're like, wow, I can't really get you to get a lot better. Would you still take on a client like that and saying, these are the habits and stretches and exercises you need to do to maintain that?
I mean, even just beyond that, right? So the purpose of the screen is to make sure this training is appropriate. At the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. It's to make sure that there's nothing that's painful, injured, or that needs to be addressed by someone who has like advanced abilities, essentially. Like on those first couple of tests when you said your back was hurting, in the back of my head I start going, does this guy need PT for his spine? Like, is there something here that needs to be addressed before I say, let's grab a kettlebell and start doing some heavy swings,
we haven't ruled that out yet, have we?
I hope we have, but that's okay.
to answer your question, like if somebody comes in and just kills it on the screen, does that mean I can't do anything? Absolutely not. But we haven't looked at our power measurements. We haven't looked at a comparison between them and their peers as far as their ability to generate speed. So you can pass this whole thing, and that doesn't mean you're any good at golf. Right. It just means that you have the physical capacity to play golf and be relatively safe doing it as well.
Sure.
So the screen is really more of what it is. It's a screen. It's not a, it's not a measuring stick for everybody for everything. But I know there's a lot of not club pros, but professional pros who go through the screen weekly. Like I was listening to a podcast the other day with Patrick Harrington, and they go through this screen every single week.
Harrington does with his own
performance coach every single week. Now, I don't do that because I think people at the level I work with will get frustrated at a lack of improvement, but he wants to always make sure that everything is peak the way it needs to be all the time.
Especially as a professional who's not getting any younger. I mean, Patrick Harrington is, I don't know how old he is, but he's not a spring chicken anymore.
Yeah, definitely taking fitness very seriously at that, more senior PGA age gets to be pretty important. All right, so let's look at your hips because this is the fun stuff too.
Yep. So you're going to stand on the edge here, toes against that little line.
Okay.
I'm using your 7-iron because of its loft, but I don't necessarily need it. So all I need to see is you on one foot. Doesn't matter which one, you get to decide. Toe stays on the ground. You're going to rotate as far as you can towards that club, almost like you're
with
rotating.
Hands on hips, right?
Yep. Okay, come on back. Do that one more time. You can go as far as you can. You can swing the knee around, whatever you want to do.
Swing the knee around?
Yeah, as far as you want to go.
But the toes got to stay on the ground?
Yes. Wow. All right, so the thing I'm looking for here is can you get your pelvis to be either in line with that or further than that?
Then my toe and the
Then the club. So if I took a stick.
This toe's got to face that way.
It does.
I don't think I'm getting anywhere close to that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to give you feedback, but this on your body needs to be either parallel or further than that. Yeah, so you start doing all the weird compensation with your feet. You're trying to get all these other ways out of it. So now that I've told you what you have to do, you've now strategized. So give me something that feels natural.
Throw it over there.
Give me something that just feels natural. Natural turn and hold there. And I love what you did with your other foot, so you gave yourself even more stability. So right now, if we pause there, that's where you want to go without much effort. Yeah. Is that parallel or further than your club?
Not even close.
Not even close. Yeah. So switch the feet around now, and you're going to turn the same way down the same line.
Left.
Yeah, so get your balance. Take that foot. I'm going to say take that foot and put it like right here.
Okay.
There you go. Same turn. Go to your left. Okay. Now, where are we at there? Closer. I would say closer, but still short.
Yeah. I'm not good with my protractor, but that looks like.
Yeah. We know it's not parallel or more. It's the same deal. We're going to go the other way.
Okay. Same thing, opposite direction.
Opposite direction. All right, what do we think?
Not even close.
Cool. Switch feet.
Switch feet.
All right, this knee can swing out. I'm going to give you a little help with that. There you go. What do you think now?
Not even.
That's probably the closest we've gotten. But yeah, all four are short. So standard, and this isn't a perfect science at all, but I can tell you just visually I've seen enough to know. Titleist says you need 60 degrees in all four of those.
What do you think out of that?
Relative to here, what I think you were between 40 and 45 on almost all of them.
Right.
Which is
60 degrees.
A lot better than I see from most people.
Okay.
The most important one of all, so go ahead and go.
Well, what about go ahead, finish your thought.
No, ask you, go ahead, go for your question.
I was kind of curious, how much does age play a role in that? I mean, obviously I would imagine it plays a huge role, but I mean, like, does the average of an 18-year-old that comes in here, typically, are they knocking 60 degrees in all progression almost every time? And that percentage of people that can do that just slowly declines every 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on?
I like that question because there's a lot of ways I can go with it. So the majority of successful young golfers who come in here blow that out of the park. I'm usually looking at them and I know. They're the lanky, skinny kid who, flies around 90 degrees both ways. It's ridiculous. It seems abnormal and unnatural how far they turn. Now, I have also seen...
I try to get them out of my Instagram feed so I don't feel so terrible about myself.
Yeah, like I remember seeing, for example, there's the kid in the long drive a couple of years ago, or not the long drive, the drive, chip, and putt a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And the kid takes the backswing, and the club head is pointing back at the ball at the top of the backswing, which is just like absolutely crazy when you think how far he's twisted himself into a pretzel at this point. So
one of the guys that comes to mind immediately, because he's a local guy and he's got a gazillion followers, and he's the world long drive champion, is Kyle Berkshire.
Sure.
And he seemingly, again, I don't watch his swings looking at, the percentage of hip rotation and all that, but I can tell his rotation seems to be insane. Am I accurate?
Yeah, I mean, the testimony to that would be having more range of motion probably helps you generate more speed.
Sure.
In most cases.
What about someone, and this is topical because he missed a putt on 18 to shoot a 59 today.
Yeah.
DeChambeau is hitting the ball a country mile, but it was a lot about weight gain. Did you notice him lose range of motion, or what was so impressive is that he put on weight and kept the range of motion?
I can't say I've noticed him shorten his swing. Like I don't nerd out on swings all that much. I truly don't.
I thought maybe you nerd out on hip rotation.
I do nerd out on hip rotation. I'm going to go at one step further. So I think when we get to the professional level, people are very good at what they do and know what their body does well. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a lot of what I try and help people with is, I'm going a little bit astray here, but I have a couple people who are obsessed with watching video. And a lot of people watch Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas videos. And I go through a screen like this, and my question is, when they fail the toe touch and they fail the hip rotation test, I ask them, do you think Justin Thomas also fails these tests? And when they answer to me no, my response is then why are you comparing their swing to your swing when you physically don't have the ability to do the same things that they do? And that's usually an eye-opening moment for a lot of people who watch these PGA Tour players and say, I want to look like that. And then I can tell them, well, you have limited ankle range of motion. Mm-hmm. You don't really control your spine very well, and your hips don't rotate as far as a PGA Tour player. So why do you expect to do that? The same as if we tested your vertical jump, and it was less than an NBA player, and then you ask me, why can't I dunk the basketball?
Right.
Right, so.
But that's an interesting analogy. However, the golf swing, is so different, and I'm going to ask this question. This question might sound like the kid in the back of the class who's asking the teacher for a shortcut to pass the class because he doesn't really want to put in the work. But there are golfers throughout the years, and they're becoming less so as physical fitness has become so important in being a successful, certainly on the PGA Tour. But there are many golfers throughout the years that do not appear to look like...
Feed me John Daly.
Yeah,
Say John Daly.
Yeah, sure.
John Daly
Craig
is...
Stadler.
Yeah.
There's tons of guys. Tim Herron. The guys that just don't look like they would have that range of motion. Is it deceiving, I guess,
yes.
my question?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at John Daly does at the young age when he won the PGA, he does what I described a second ago in that drive, chip, and putt kid. Mm-hmm. He has ridiculous ability to rotate. His flexibility in rotation is astronomical, regardless of how large his stomach may be.
And Daly might not be the best example because Daly goes so far past parallel.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But you can only physically do what your body can physically do.
Yeah. Right.
So back to what I was saying.
But I guess I'm sorry to be stuck on this one point.
Good.
But like those same kids that are watching Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, and you're saying, listen, you're trying to compare yourself to a swing that you physically can't do. I'm almost curious, and this is the wrong question to be asking, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is like, are there golfers that would be like, you should be comparing? Maybe until you improve that, you should be watching this guy swing.
So I recently just started deferring to John Rahm because he has recently praised TPI for a lot of the things he has changed in his swing and his program. And he gave a really great press conference about a month ago where he talks about being born with club foot defection, or a deformity, excuse me, and he talked about how that has very much changed how much his ankles can move. He has limited hip range as well. So he's the guy with, you know, the super short backswing on tour, but obviously immensely successful, generates a lot of power and a lot of speed. So kind of what I said before, you can have limitations. You just have to know what those are and then learn how to be very effective with what you do.
So when you watch John Rahm's swing, I heard that same announcement, and he does. Everybody sees that he has such a short backswing, but it still generates an insane amount of power.
Crazy power.
What do you see in this area with John Rahm? Is he still
massive legs?
Sure.
I mean, that's the big answer. So he is very, very strong, and he is very efficient with how he uses the ground and generates a rotational force and generates upward force through the ground. So he is insanely strong. Now, you don't have to be very flexible to hit the ball very far. That's not a requirement. Sure. But you have to be very good at using what your body has and being efficient in that time. So whereas you have someone who's incredibly flexible, you have so much time to generate speed. John has this much time to generate speed. So he has to be very quick and very powerful to generate as much club head speed as someone who can take a larger swing.
Right. Okay. I like it. I like that answer. Okay, where are we?
Yeah, I know. I had to think about that for a second too. All right, we're going to look at lat flexibility. This one I think you'll pass after watching you. So you're going to go with your back against the wall, head against the wall. You're going to take your thumbs up, and we're going to try and touch the wall behind you.
Okay.
The only thing I didn't mention is I'm going to put a stick behind your back. I need you to put your back on the wall, and it can't move.
Can't move.
Can't move.
All right, I'm less confident than you are that I'm going to pass this.
I think you'll pass it.
I actually do. Think
How far down?
It doesn't matter. It's not a wall sit, so don't feel like you have to.
I literally just got a slight tweak in the left knee there. Okay.
I love all this. This is awesome, man.
You're a good test subject.
Good. So push that down.
Hold on.
Oh man. See, this is test one from the start again.
I just got to stick my back.
Yep.
You know what it is?
This is hard.
This is the beer belly pulling my lower back away from the wall.
Good. So pressure into that.
Okay.
All right. So ideally we'd have the head.
That's a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's hard already from the start.
So let me rethink this.
Pressure in there. There we go. That's good.
Okay.
Both hands by your side now.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
Towards the ceiling.
Yep.
Very slowly get both hands up.
Oh.
There it is. So right away we look at line here.
Yep.
So the way Titleist does it is before the nose,
Covers the nose, touches the wall.
Ooh, I just heard my back crack when you did that.
You're welcome. That's a free manipulation, no charge. So on that one, I was wrong. Limited, right?
What?
So here's why I care about that. I'll put this in here really quick. I'll give you the covers nose. I'll be more kind. I'll tell her in a sec. Here's why that matters.
Yeah.
So your ability to flex your arms up overhead tells me a lot about how high you can get your hands in the backswing and then through the ball towards the finish.
Okay.
So if at all that is limited,
as you turn here, that will limit how high you can actually get
your hands to that position.
Yeah.
So right away.
And that I'm cognizant of because I've watched video of my own swing, and I lose width because of my lack of mobility there.
Yep.
You know, the arm breaks down.
Yep.
And to prevent my arm breaking down, my backswing just gets shorter and shorter.
So this brings up my favorite conversation with people. I have guys who test poorly on that, who don't get their arm to their nose, and then they watch their swing and they ask me or they ask their golf pro, how do I get the club to parallel? And my answer to them has to be, well, shoulder flexibility is limited. Your ability to get your arms up overhead is limited. So either we improve that, or you better have ridiculous rotation through your torso and ridiculous rotation through your lower body to just add this crazy extra rotation there. But most of the time when I have this discussion, they're limited in all those other places. So every time we take away one little piece,
here's your high backswing. Okay, take away shoulder flexibility. Okay, take away my right hip rotation. Okay, take away my torso rotation. Okay, this is now the peak of my backswing.
if we get severely limited, right?
As we take away pieces
of what should be moving,
we lose the ability to create a very
lengthy swing.
That was an excellent description and done in a way that I can actually comprehend it. So thank you. And that makes all the sense in the world because I feel like and a lot of these 16 tests have already shown I've lost a decent percentage of probably all three of those.
Sure. So we've already seen hip rotations limited on the right.
We've seen elevation is limited on the
right as well.
Yep.
So at this point, we're already chipping away at what is the perfect parallel backswing.
Okay.
Cool?
Yep.
I'm going to holler at it really quick.
And I think we're fine. I mean,
you do?
Oh,
even if it starts chanting, go, go, go?
Oh, they do all that.
Are you going to put the volume on that?
So I was going to ask, I feel like my AirPods are in my car. If you guys need, I can go run and get them.
Would you mind? Just because we're doing a podcast, so if it's loud.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, where am I on this? I think we have like 2 more, if even that. I think we just have bridge and we do bridge and rotation.
Okay.
All right, so this one I'll put here. All right, you can take a seat there, Alex.
Okay.
So I was just talking about hip rotation,
Shoulder flexion. The last thing we're leaving out is torso rotation.
Okay.
So this is the big one for most people.
Okay.
Extend the elbows behind you.
yeah, I'm going to
Thread.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
all the way behind you.
Forgot
So like
what my
behind your
elbows were.
back. Those are your elbows. These
That's
things.
right.
I'm going to thread this through. See if you can get that around there.
Okay.
Okay. So now we kind of locked in.
Okay.
What I want you to do is I want you to turn as far as you can towards your backswing.
Oh gosh.
You didn't have to do it violently. All right, so I'm looking for at least 45 degrees. So the nice thing is if I put this behind your back and between your elbows, it makes it really hard for you to cheat and show me extra.
Sure.
So that to me is pretty darn close. Go the other direction.
Wow. That's better. Now, do you feel a difference side to side as you do that?
Yes.
Is that easier going to the left?
Not dramatically, but yes.
Okay, so you perceive a difference in that already.
You're right. And I think we saw that in one of the earlier exercises.
To a degree.
Turning left seems a little bit easier for me than turning right.
All right, so now I'm going to show you how you're cheating with your hips. So you're going to put
Your feet together. I'm going to put this ball between your knees. You have to put pressure and squeeze that ball. Do not let it drop.
do the exact same rotation.
As long as it doesn't drop.
Yeah. You feel like you got less or the same?
I don't feel like it's that
I think
much
you got
different.
about the same.
Yeah.
Go the other way.
That feels less.
Okay, so ready?
I'm just going to keep you there. I'm going to take this away. Go ahead and turn. You see how you were cheating and just using your hips a little bit there? So all you're doing is just sliding a little bit. So when I put this,
Oh, because I was sliding my hips on my.
you're doing this, right? You're moving your pelvis back and forth. So I see your knees come
Why is
forward
that
and
cheating?
backwards.
Why is that cheating?
don't
Because
know.
in this test, I just want to see your spine move.
I see.
But here's the thing. Every great athlete can make a test, a pass, because they know their body and they know the objective, right? So you know the objective here is to turn as far as you can. So when your spine runs out of room and you're sitting there, you figure out any other way to keep going.
Sure. I'm going for that 45. I want the
Yeah.
45.
I told you I want
45.
But then when I give
If
you
you had
this,
told me 35, I might have given up.
yeah. So now squeeze that again. Go further. Go ahead. Now if I tell you just drop it, let your knees go, turn further, right?
Yep.
So that just showed me that now we've used the hips. You can't keep the knees stationary.
Good, I'll take this out. So limited to the right.
Ooh.
How you feeling now?
Just like 2 more seconds of any of that, and I would have been cramping everywhere.
Okay, last thing, you can lay on your back.
That's probably a dehydration thing more than anything.
You can lay on
lay
your
on
back on
back.
that mat. Yep.
Okay.
I think we got the mat in there almost. I might just move this over.
So then we can kind of get all your stuff. Cool, that'll work.
Okay, feet are going to be together. That works. You know what a bridge is?
Like this?
Yeah, so go hands towards the ceiling.
Hands to the ceiling.
Yep, up here. Reach all the way. Just so you don't use your hands. That's the only
Oh,
thing.
I see.
Go ahead and do a bridge. So hips all the way up high as you can get them.
Cool. That's gorgeous. Going back down. So I'm looking at glute strength and endurance here. So we're going to do one side and then the other side.
Okay.
You're going to bridge up like you did, and then I want you to extend one leg. That leg has to remain parallel to the other one. What I mean by that is this. As you bridge up, I don't want to see this leg way up here, and I don't want to see it way down here. They got to be knee to knee. They don't have to be touching, but they just have to be next to each other.
Okay.
Then you're going to hold that until I tell you to.
Okay.
Gorgeous. Hold it right there, a little lower. Good. Keep the hips high. Hold there.
Oh.
Cramp?
Yes.
That is actually a sign that Titleist has as an answer on that app for what the response is to that test.
What does that mean?
Oh, I'll tell you that in a second. Okay, same thing, try the other side.
I feel like I should have drank more Gatorade and I would have done better.
Yeah, electrolytes.
Opposite side?
Yep, opposite side. Good luck. Now you know what's coming.
See, now I'm wishing I didn't go to that party last night.
Go to hips high, hips high, hips high. There you go.
Oh yeah, I can feel
it coming on.
I feel the cramp coming. I feel like my hamstring is about to ball up.
Okay, so the test here is looking for glute strength. So this tells me right away, are you hamstring dominant in trying to extend your hips, or are you glute dominant? Or are your glutes so weak that you feel the need to use your hamstrings? So this is not part of...
I feel, if you had asked me before I came in here today, I would have told you that my hamstrings are weak and my glutes are weak.
Yeah, so you proved both. So let's try this. We'll do something... sorry about that. Your phone just fell.
Oop, that's all right.
I thought we were good.
Is it still going?
I think it is.
Let me see.
No, it broke and it's dead forever. No, it did shut off.
It'll turn itself off.
That's very funny. When it falls, it turns itself off?
And this may be, who knows? There's a chance it was never running, because that sounds like something I would do. But it's running now.
Just asked someone if they wanted to go to the BMW Championship tomorrow, and their response is, sorry, I gave my wife a girls' day. You can come parent with me if you want.
Yeah, nice. I'm going on Sunday.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go tomorrow. I don't know. Depends on the weather.
All right.
All right, so we can stand up. Actually, you know what? Lay on your back. Let's see if we can do a modified version of that. I think that'll...
Man, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You want to try again, and we'll just edit that out?
Embarrassed for that.
So here's what you're going to do. You're going to do that exact same bridge,
Okay.
but don't go up yet. Bring your feet all the way together. I want your feet a little further away from your butt. Yep. I want you to take your toes off the ground. I want you to just push through your heels. So this is not part of Titleist. I'm just trying to help you out here.
Okay.
You're going to raise your hands up to the ceiling. When you bridge, I want you to try and push your heels away from you on that mat. So go ahead and lift on up. Good. See if you can take one leg up. Push away with the heel. Push away. Push, push, push. You're going to hold there. Keep going. Keep going. Good. Relax on down. Do the other side.
Why is that easier?
Do the other side first.
Okay. Now I can feel the cramp coming up. There, it's about to come.
So the way Titleist will grade this, or Titleist Performance Institute will grade this, is weak, cramp, or strong. So you fall into the cramp category. Again, meaning your hamstrings are the thing that you're primarily using to extend your hips.
Okay.
You would ask, why when you push through your heels does that help? When you push through your heels, you're trying to extend your knees or straighten your knees. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to try to extend your knees and try and bend your knees at the same time. So when you're pushing away, your quads get engaged, so that allows your glute to turn on. Now, we still got a difference side to side, right?
So does that mean that it's more of a hamstring issue than a glute issue, or that's not what it's saying?
Weakness comes first in all of this. So the fact that you can't do it at all is just a weakness issue.
Sure.
And then the cramping is a poor strategy. The cramping is using hamstring when we really need to be using
I can't blame that on beer last night?
I don't know, maybe a little bit. At least the cramp part, I guess you might be able to. But the strategy, no. Okay. So one of the big things for you has to be glute strengthening, and not only glute strengthening, but getting you to understand what firing your glutes feels like and what using your hamstrings feels like. So when it comes to muscles in our body, the strongest muscle you have, the most important one you have to generate rotational force, rotation of hips through to the ball, creating power, creating speed, everything in golf is your rear glute. So your right foot as a right-handed golfer, your left side as a left-handed golfer, that glute on your dominant side has to be the strongest thing. And for you, we got a cramp and didn't even get the full 15 seconds. So I just want to point out that that is probably, if there was anything you need to work on strengthening outside of here, if you're a golfer that has pain, if you're a golfer that just wants to swing harder or faster or hit it further, you better have a strong glute on your dominant side. Hands down.
Here's my question. So like I knew I'm not dumb. I'm not a dummy, and I like to think I'm a little bit self-aware. I knew and know that I have painfully weak hamstrings and glutes. How does that? I mean, I understand what you just said mostly. How does that impact my golf swing?
Cool. I'm ready for that answer, I think.
Okay.
Go ahead and stand on up. So, in a golf swing, we need to generate rotation towards the target, right? We talked about jumping a little earlier, so I think that's always a great analogy. This idea of loading up and then using that energy in the opposite direction, kinetic energy, right? As I go to jump, I load down into my glutes, my knees, my hamstrings, my quads, all that. So if I want to jump into the air, I have to load down to explode up.
Sure.
If I'm going to hit a ball, I have to load into rotation and then explode and use that energy outward.
Sure.
As you take a backswing, go ahead and do that really quick because I think it'll be a good visual. As you take a backswing there and you turn in front of or over this foot, as your belt buckle turns over that foot, this hip internally rotates, and this goes on a massive stretch.
Okay.
That's your right glute, correct?
Yeah.
As that's on a massive stretch, what drives your pelvis around is the contraction of that glute that creates that really violent pelvic turn towards the target.
Gotcha. And I got nothing going on there.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about efficiency and generating power and speed, that test probably tells me the most on strategy and how you create speed in a downswing.
Interesting. Okay.
Cool with that?
Yeah. Just want to do a quick double check on
Go ahead. Probably an hour in, that's probably a good time.
Good, yeah. No, that's all. Well, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Just with that one falling, I was like, wait a second, I should probably check.
All right, so that is officially the end of the standard Titleist screen.
Okay.
Let me give you go ahead.
I was going to ask, do you want to, because I don't know where this is in your process, but my question, my follow-up questions to that specifically would be like, okay, what are some things I can do at home to start solving some of this?
I wish I had just given you a script to do that. That's you've stolen my thunder. That is exactly what I do next. So going through all 16 of those tests.
Sure.
Titleist does it in the most childish way possible.
Red, yellow, green. Red is stop, you have to address it. Yellow is
they're kind of okay, but you should think about
working on them. Green is good. You got a good mix. We got a lot of things in green, we got a lot of things in yellow, and we got a couple things in red. Single leg balance was really poor.
Sure.
Lat flexibility.
So getting the arm up overhead, not so great on both sides. Rotation through the hips, not so great on both sides, in both directions. And then the bridge was glute weakness on both sides. Those are your 4 red things. Those are the 4 things we address immediately for you.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. So if I were to give you homework, we start working on some single leg balance stuff.
Sure.
This is not your homework. That's super boring.
Yeah.
I don't do that stuff. And I really don't like giving people exercises that help the test or are the test.
Yeah.
Because then that makes the test irrelevant.
Sure.
So the more you practice a test, the easier it will get. That works on any level with anything from academia to sports to whatever.
Yep.
So we have to do things that aren't the test that will help you get that skill.
Got it. Okay.
Cool?
Yep.
The first thing I would hit on basically anybody is mobility. So the fact that glutes and lats are your 2 issues with mobility, I think we should hit those 2 things first.
Okay.
So I'll give you the number 1 mobility drill that comes into almost anybody's program from me. You're going to start off hands and knees. So we're going to try and get you something for your posterior hip.
Okay.
And since we got the mat that way,
I would turn this way, just so we get
a good visual there. Well, at least one camera. All right, so from here, I'm trying to get you to hit this posterior hip capsule to get you as much rotation as possible.
Okay.
You're going to straighten this leg out behind you. You're going to swing this foot around to that side.
What I tell people is I want you to try and get your belly button
to be over your right knee, if not a little outside your right knee. So if you watch me here, as I get into that same position, I'm going to try and move back towards kind of that back corner there.
So not side, but can I go side? No.
Yep, I want you to go a little bit sideways. I want you to go a little bit backwards. Right there. That should feel like the back of your hip is going to explode out your butt cheek.
Yep, I feel that.
So you can rock around.
You can move side to side. You can get wherever, but it needs to feel like that's a lot of pressure right there.
I feel it. And so we just hold that?
I tell people to hold it. You can rock back and forth. You can take your right knee and you can drive it into the ground and try and contract your glute while it's under stretch. You can do any of that stuff.
I feel it, for sure.
So if you're someone who rides the desk all day,
yep.
If you don't get out and do much exercise, if there's any stretch that you should probably do before golf, if you're tight in the hips, this is number 1 easiest thing. Just go to it right away.
Got it. Okay.
So after doing that, just because I love test, retest, let me get you to stand on up. We'll set up the same way we were earlier. Same thing here. You'll stand on your right side. How far do we turn to the right now?
Just off.
I mean, that's 45 seconds of doing it.
Do you normally see an improvement just based on that?
You don't get to ask me that question without trying. So a lot of the stuff I do with people is perception-based too. So how does that feel?
That felt better.
Okay. If it's 1 degree more,
did it look any better?
You don't pass the test, right? Like if you're 1 degree more and you were at 40 degrees and now you're at 41, you don't pass the test now.
Right, but 1 degree better is a win.
Sure it is. Yeah. When we talk about somebody who potentially has low back pain and when they play golf, they get through 7, 8 holes before their back starts to hurt. If I gave you 1 or 2 more degrees of hip range of motion, maybe you wouldn't use so much spine range of motion to hit the ball. So maybe now instead of 8 holes, you now go 10 holes.
Sure.
So the idea is if I can just buy you that extra 1%, that can give you a whole lot more than 1% performance.
Sure. That makes sense. Exponential.
Yeah, it can be. 1% here and there is a lot more than 1 + 1 + 1 + 1.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that kind of drill, again, you told me right away, that feels better, that feels easier. So that then becomes part of your homework.
Sure. Okay.
And now that you know what that feels like, go ahead and set up in a golf stance. And if you know what that stretch feeling feels like, can you take a backswing that now replicates that feeling to some degree?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so now I've taught you what it feels like to load your hip up.
Right.
So now one little stretch that's meant to increase your rotation has now taught you how to rotate more efficiently into your hip because you know what it feels like to stretch your hip. And now what was one stupid little stretch, if you look at it that way, has given you at least 2 things.
And again, about 30 seconds worth of it.
Yeah, more motor control and more range of motion.
Okay. Yeah. I can see just even. I mean, it's you know, I don't feel a drastic difference, but 30 seconds, you know, you notice a little bit of difference.
Yeah. So that's what I try and give people. It's a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's get you rotation from the upper body. So if you go hands and knees again, we'll try 2 different things and see which one you like more. And when I say what you like more, I mean which one hurts and feels tighter and feels like suffering through it.
love it.
Okay. It slid a little. I don't know I think we got it.
That's fine.
It's still sliding.
What's sliding?
The back foot.
Gosh.
Yeah, if you trip over that a couple more times, I might actually be able to get somebody to come in here and fix it. I think it's good.
What was sliding?
The back foot was just creeping away, like doing a little split. I think it's good now.
Whatever. It's all good. That's the backup game.
Okay, so if we're trying to get something for your thoracic rotation, your back rotation, and your lat, you can go hands and knees there. You can maybe sit back towards your heels just a little bit. Right there's plenty. Take your left hand, put it flat on that foam roller to your side, palm up, underneath your arm. Yes, this is called thread the needle.
Yep.
So if you're imagining, you're reaching the thread through here. Go palm up on this, so just flip around. Yep. And all I want you to do is push that away. When you get as far as you can pushing that foam roller away, I want you to take 5 really deep breaths. I want you to try and expand through your rib cage, anywhere through here, anywhere it feels tight through your shoulder, just 5 enormous breaths. I mean, as big as you can. If it feels like you can't breathe, back off a tiny bit and do the same thing.
There's definitely something
in the way, or something happening.
I just feel. It's almost like I can feel my rib cage.
So now you're going to do this. You're going to take this, do the same thing, palm up there, other hand. So now we're going to go like a 45-degree angle, exact same thing. The hips don't have to be on the heels, but you need to reach as far away as you can. This is now addressing what we did on the wall, trying to elevate your hands and what's limited there. Right. So you should feel this anywhere from the back here all the way down your lat, all the way to your hip.
Yeah.
Deep breaths there, same deal. Try and expand into where you feel tight. How comfortable is that?
Not very. Oh. That was not comfortable. I felt it. Not very comfortable.
So you get to stand up now.
Okay.
How long did you do that for?
Not long, I don't know.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah.
All right, take your backswing now.
Backswing with a club.
Yeah, with a club, why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot freer.
How much did I pay you to say that?
I mean, again, it's not, is it like dramatic?
No, you are not just
you can absolutely feel it after just a minute.
So all this entire process is really aimed at doing is finding your physical limitations and giving you little ways to address them to make small improvements. So if you think you've done that for 30 seconds right now, the intention isn't to take the foam roller out on the golf course and do that every time that you take a swing. I don't need you to pull the foam roller out of the cart, lay on the ground and do that before you hit your drive and before you hit your 7-iron, before you chip. I need you to do that a couple times a day or a couple times a week if you don't care that much to gain that range of motion as much as possible. When it comes to mobility drills like this, you can't overdose on a mobility drill. At least I haven't met anybody who's done it yet.
Sure.
So if we get some more rib cage expansion, if we get you to loosen your lat up a little bit, if we get you to open your hip up and know what hip rotation feels like, your swing will become easier getting into those extreme positions.
And for the to expand on that, for the uninitiated in flexibility, which I would classify myself as, unlike weight training, where you can overdo it on your muscles, or you need a day for your muscles to recover.
Yep.
That's not the case at all with flexibility, right?
No, I mean, if you're trying to gain range of motion, it takes repetitive stressing to gain that. Now, the thing I want to point out on all of these is, did we really do like a static stretch, right? If I wanted you to get hamstring flexibility, this is not the way to do it. There needs to be something that we're doing that makes that happen.
So when you did the rotation, I was coaching you to breathe more. As you take a big breath, your ribs need to expand. The muscles between your ribs, your intercostals, your lats, all your shoulder muscles have to relax, because as a human, your priority is to be able to breathe. So if all those muscles are squeezing and tight and you're in a high tone environment where everything isn't relaxed, your brain's going to be like, we need to relax everything that feels tight because Alex needs to breathe right now.
Sure.
So we're not just hanging out and stretching. I'm trying to use other things that will force you to gain range of motion.
Breathing's a huge one for the upper body. When it comes to the leg, and I told you to get into that position on hands and knees and we were working into your hip, I didn't tell you to stay in one position. I want you to find the worst, most uncomfortable, tightest spot and just press into that thing. I mean, make it feel horrible. Make it feel like you're actually getting somewhere.
Sure.
Because this idea of this thing on the course right before you hit a ball, to stretch muscle and fascia and things, you know, that make up our musculoskeletal system, to stretch those out takes thousands of pounds of force to move them millimeters. So if anyone actually thinks that this is gaining them range of motion because their tissue is stretching, is crazy.
Okay.
What it actually is doing is creating a neurological effect where we're getting relaxation of a muscle, so then you can actually gain range because your muscle doesn't have as much tone and tightness.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
So everything I do
I
is
would not have
usually
thought about it in those terms, but yeah.
it's
Usually movement-based.
Right.
So if you notice, the people who sit in wheelchairs all day, they don't have a whole lot of hip range of motion.
They get stuck here, right? So if you don't use a range of motion very much, you're likely going to lose that range of motion because Your body doesn't use it. It's
not important. Our whole job as a human is to be really good at whatever we do every day. If that's sitting in the chair, you'll get really tight hip flexors so you can keep your
posture upright. You'll lose hip extension because you don't need that to sit on your butt all day.
Got it.
But when you're a golfer, you need those ranges. So we need to get you into those extreme positions that you use all the time.
What about, like, so one of the earlier, you know, when I was on my back and I displayed my subpar hamstring and glute strength, those are two different things, right? I mean, those are two different things, but I mean, like, strength in your legs, especially the rear sections of your legs, is different than what we're talking about here, which is mobility.
Yeah.
Can you, my guess is, and tell me if I'm wrong, that you can have, what's a better way to put this? It's almost like it's better to have mobility and flexibility as a golfer than really strong legs, compared to if you could only have one, versus vice versa. If you had really strong legs but you couldn't move, who's the better golfer? Who has the better chance to have a good swing?
I think there's examples of both.
Okay.
I think there's examples of both. But I like your question because I think in most cases, and this doesn't apply to the premier athletes, the best of the best. This does not apply. For Joe Schmo who sits around behind a desk or who plays golf once or twice a week or who never works out or goes to the gym, you can't have enough mobility work. You can't ensure that you have all the range of motion enough. Like if you put a gun to my head and said, I'm a 40-year-old guy who plays a lot of golf, I only have time to either do mobility drills or do strengthening, which one should I do today? I'd probably say mobility. Because the likelihood of you gaining range of motion and preventing injury and gaining that little extra bit of turn that might help you generate speed, those are probably the things that are more important for most people. But I hate ever saying that strength is important because I think strength is super important when it comes to any of this stuff.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay. Now for hamstrings and glutes, you know, we've already established that both are weak for me. When I work from home, I sit at a desk for the majority of my day.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times, my workout might consist of a jog, you know, some push-ups here and there. And if I'm looking for leg workouts, really the only things I would ever do, and I'm curious, my question is going to be, am I not doing these things enough, or no, you should be doing this? But the only things I really know are some sort of, like, you know, lunges.
Lunges are great. They should be in the list.
And air squats.
Also should be in the list to a degree.
Okay. But that's all I got.
For you personally? For you personally, right? So we talked about your squat right away is limited by your ankle range. Sure. So I'm going to fall back on one thing really quick and say we probably need to work on your ankle range of motion before we really stress out how much squat range you need, but you can still do squats.
Okay. I think this brings up a whole conversation on strength and conditioning and where people miss it. The first thing you said, and this I hear from competitive golfers, is I work out, you know, here and there. I go for a run. Okay, I talk to a lot of golfers. I run People love the Peloton, man. People love the Peloton. How many times during a round of golf do you run or ride a bicycle?
First off, easy question on that one. Neither,
I haven't
right?
quite got into speed golfing yet.
Okay, so that's a good start. Golf is a rotational sport.
Does running or riding a bike have any component in this direction at all?
No.
Okay, so that's
I
usually...
would see somebody try to argue that, but yeah, but I'm getting some kind of leg straight from biking.
Sure, I hear you on that.
Okay.
But it's not the same. That would be like,
I guess
the end of this is, I need to see some glute strength.
strengthening that shows me that you can initiate some form of rotation with it.
And yeah, a glute is a rotator, it's a hip extender.
It does both.
Okay.
But if we're talking about golf being a rotational sport, we probably should train your glute in a way that it's emphasizing rotation.
Or at least avoiding rotation. So what I mean by that is this.
If we
Talk about glutes and hamstrings, most people know what a deadlift is.
most people have back pain, avoid it like it's the plague,
Yeah.
despite the fact that we do it all day long.
When we look at deadlifts, glute and hamstring are the primary movers. If I give you a single leg deadlift all of a sudden, we've done things for you. There's now single leg stability that we need to do. I need you to use your glute and hamstring to stand up. Not only that, but from a rotational perspective, when you're standing here, you can do a single leg deadlift with a really flat hip. Can I borrow that for a second, just for visual?
So when you're here, I can go like
Like this,
or
I can do it really
junky and I can be
flailing all over the place.
Or if someone gets really good,
I can get you into a single leg deadlift here, and I can have you open your hip, close your hip. All those things show me that
you have glute control, glute strength, that you know what you're doing and where you're positioned as far as rotation goes.
Rarely do I see anyone come in here who can stand on one leg, open their hip both ways, who can't load into a backswing position. Vice versa, people who can't load into a backswing position usually can't do that.
Right.
So if I can teach someone to single leg deadlift alone,
Yeah.
that's probably one of the most valuable things you can learn how to do.
Sure. Okay.
So back to your, I need glute and leg strength. Deadlifting's huge. A lot of people avoid it, again, and that needs to be something that becomes a norm.
Because at the end of the day, when we're talking about golf stance, right, that hinge position that we go to address in, well, if I were to just exaggerate that hip hinge forever, it looks an awful lot like a deadlift.
Yeah, sure.
So people who play golf who are afraid of deadlifts, I usually tell them, well, you're doing like a 10% one every time you stand over the ball. So if you're not confident in doing that, you probably shouldn't even be doing that.
Yeah, I've never equated the two. Makes all the sense in the
You're
world.
not squatting, right? I'm not getting here and I've seen this. This is always a weird one.
I know a golfer too that's
This one? These
squat
are,
setup.
These are fun. So yeah, I mean that's really the general stuff as far as your screen goes. I would say we need single leg balance work, which I would have incorporated in as that deadlift. If that's hard, take the club, use it for support as much as you need it. When you don't need it anymore, get rid of it, and work on that kind of thing. And then as soon as you get comfortable with movement patterns, that's when we start adding weight or adding
resistance.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I got some takeaways here.
Yeah.
And some things to work. Oh, a lot of things to work on.